You have learnt in Chapter 1 that plants can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis, but animals cannot. Animals get their food from plants, either directly by eating plants or indirectly by eating animals that eat plants. Some animals eat both plants and animals. Recall that all organisms, including humans, require food for growth, repair, and functioning of the body. Animal nutrition includes nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and its utilization in the body. The components of food, such as carbohydrates, are complex substances. These complex substances cannot be utilized as such, so they are broken down into simpler substances. The breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substances is called digestion. 2.1 Different ways of taking food. The mode of taking food into the body varies in different organisms. Bees and hummingbirds suck the nectar of plants. Infants of human and many other animals feed on mother's milk. Snakes like the python swallow the animals they prey upon. Some aquatic animals filter tiny food particles floating nearby and feed upon them. Digestion in humans. We take in food through the mouth, digest and utilize it. The unused parts of the food are defecated. Have you ever wondered what happens to the food inside the body? The food passes through a continuous canal, figure 2.2, which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. The canal can be divided into various compartments. 1. The buccal cavity. 2. Food pipe or esophagus. 3. Stomach. 4. Small intestine. 5. Large intestine ending in the rectum, and 6. The anus. Is it not a very long path? These parts together form the alimentary canal, digestive tract. The food components gradually get digested as food travels through the various compartments. The inner walls of the stomach and the small intestine, and the various glands associated with the canal, such as salivary glands, the liver and the pancreas, secrete digestive juices. The digestive juices convert complex substances of food into simpler ones. The digestive tract and the associated glands together constitute the digestive system. Now, let us know what happens to the food in different parts of the digestive tract. Amazing fact. Starfish feeds on animals covered by hard shells of calcium carbonate. After opening the shell, the starfish pops out its stomach through its mouth to eat the soft animal inside the shell. The stomach then goes back into the body and the food is slowly digested. The mouth and buccal cavity. Food is taken into the body through the mouth. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. We chew the food with the teeth and break it down mechanically into small pieces. Each tooth is rooted in a separate socket in the gums, figure 2.3. Our teeth vary in appearance and perform different functions. Accordingly, they are given different names, figure 2.3. Normally, bacteria are present in our mouth, but they are not harmful to us. However, if we do not clean our teeth and mouth after eating, many harmful bacteria also begin to live and grow in it. These bacteria break down the sugars present from the leftover food and release acids. See Chapter 5 to know what an acid is. The acids gradually damage the teeth, figure 2.5. This is called tooth decay. If it is not treated in time, it causes severe toothache and in extreme cases results in tooth loss. Chocolates, sweets, soft drinks and other sugar products are the major culprits of tooth decay. Therefore, one should clean the teeth with a brush or datoon and dental floss, a special strong thread which is moved between two teeth to take out trapped food particles, at least twice a day, and rinse the mouth after every meal. Also, one should not put dirty fingers or any unwashed object in the mouth. Sometimes when you eat in a hurry, talk or laugh while eating, you may cough, get hiccups or a choking sensation. This happens when food particles enter the windpipe. The windpipe carries air from the nostrils to the lungs. It runs adjacent to the food pipe. But inside the throat, air and food share a common passage. Then how is food prevented from entering the windpipe? During the act of swallowing, a flap-like valve closes the passage of the windpipe and guides the food into the food pipe. If, by chance, food particles enter the windpipe, we feel choked, get hiccups or cough. The food pipe/esophagus. The swallowed food passes into the food pipe or esophagus. Look at figure 2.2. The food pipe runs along the neck and the chest. Food is pushed down by movement of the wall of the food pipe. Actually, this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal and pushes the food downwards. Figure 2.7. At times the food is not accepted by our stomach and is vomited out. Recall the instances when you vomited after eating and think of the reason for it. Discuss with your parents and teacher. The stomach. The stomach is a thick-walled bag. Its shape is like a flattened J and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. It receives food from the food pipe at one end and opens into the small intestine at the other. The inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid and digestive juices. The mucus protects the lining of the stomach. The acid kills many bacteria that enter along with the food and makes the medium in the stomach acidic and helps the digestive juices to act. The digestive juices break down the proteins into simpler substances. The working of the stomach was discovered by a strange accident. In 1822, a man named Alexis St. Martin was badly hit by a shotgun. The bullet had seriously damaged the chest wall and made a hole in his stomach. He was brought to an American Army doctor, William Beaumont. The doctor saved the patient, but he could not close the hole properly and left it bandaged. Figure 2.8. Beaumont took it as a great opportunity to see the inside of the stomach through the hole. He made some wonderful observations. Beaumont found that the stomach was churning food. Its wall secreted a fluid which could digest the food. He also observed that the end of the stomach opens into the intestine only after the digestion of the food inside the stomach is completed. The small intestine. The small intestine is highly coiled and is about 7.5 meters long. It receives secretions from the liver and the pancreas. Besides, its wall also secretes juices. The liver is a reddish-brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. It is the largest gland in the body. It secretes bile juice that is stored in a sac called the gallbladder. Figure 2.2. The bile plays an important role in the digestion of fats. The pancreas is a large cream-colored gland located just below the stomach. Figure 2.2. The pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrates, fats and proteins and changes them into simpler forms. The partly digested food now reaches the lower part of the small intestine where the intestinal juice completes the digestion of all components of the food. The carbohydrates get broken into simple sugars such as glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. Absorption in the small intestine. The digested food can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine. This process is called absorption. The inner walls of the small intestine have thousands of finger-like outgrowths. These are called villi, singular villus. Can you guess what the role of villi could be in the intestine? The villi increase the surface area for absorption of the digested food. Each villus has a network of thin and small blood vessels close to its surface. The surface of the villi absorbs the digested food materials. The absorbed substances are transported via the blood vessels to different organs of the body where they are used to build complex substances such as the proteins required by the body. This is called assimilation. In the cells, glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters into the large intestine. Large intestine. The large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter in length. Its function is to absorb water and some salts from the undigested food material. The remaining waste passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. The fecal matter is removed through the anus from time to time. This is called digestion. Digestion in grass-eating animals. Have you observed cows, buffaloes and other grass-eating animals chewing continuously even when they are not eating? Actually, they quickly swallow the grass and store it in a part of the stomach called rumen. Figure 2.9. Here the food gets partially digested and is called cud. But later the cud returns to the mouth in small lumps and the animal chews it. This process is called rumination and these animals are called ruminants. The grass is rich in cellulose, a type of carbohydrate. In ruminants like cattle, deer, etc., Bacteria present in rumen helps in digestion of cellulose. Many animals, including humans, cannot digest cellulose. Animals like horses, rabbit, etc., have a large sac-like structure called cecum between the esophagus and the small intestine, figure 2.9. The cellulose of the food is digested here by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in humans. So far you have learnt about animals which possess the digestive system. But there are many small organisms which do not have a mouth and a digestive system. Then, how do they acquire and digest food? In the section below you will learn another interesting way of food intake. Feeding and digestion in amoeba. Amoeba is a microscopic single-celled organism found in pond water. Amoeba has a cell membrane, a rounded, dense nucleus and many small bubble-like vacuoles, figure 2.10, in its cytoplasm. Amoeba constantly changes its shape and position. It pushes out one or more finger-like projections, called pseudopodia or false feet for movement and capture of food. Amoeba feeds on some microscopic organisms. When it senses food, it pushes out pseudopodia around the food particle and engulfs it. The food becomes trapped in a food vacuole, figure 2.10. Digestive juices are secreted into the food vacuole. They act on the food and break it down into simpler substances. Gradually the digested food is absorbed. The absorbed substances are used for growth, maintenance and multiplication. The undigested residue of the food is expelled outside by the vacuole. The basic process of digestion of food and release of energy is the same in all animals. In a later chapter you will learn about the transport of food absorbed by the intestine to the various parts of the body. Keywords: absorption, amino acid, amoeba, assimilation, bile, buccal cavity, canine, cellulose, digestion, digestion, fatty acid, food vacuole, gallbladder, glycerol, incisor, ingestion, liver, milk, teeth, molar, permanent teeth, esophagus, pancreas, premolar, pseudopodia, rumen, ruminant, rumination, salivary glands, villi, saliva. What you have learnt: animal nutrition includes nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food and its utilization in the body. The human digestive system consists of the alimentary canal and secretory glands. It consists of the I. buccal cavity, 2. esophagus, 3. stomach, 4. small intestine, V. large intestine ending in rectum and Y. anus. The main digestive glands which secrete digestive juices are I. the salivary glands, 2. the liver and 3. the pancreas. The stomach wall and the wall of the small intestine also secrete digestive juices. The modes of feeding vary in different organisms. Nutrition is a complex process involving I. ingestion, 2. digestion, 3. absorption, 4. assimilation and V. digestion. Digestion of carbohydrates, like starch, begins in the buccal cavity. The digestion of protein starts in the stomach. The bile secreted from the liver, the pancreatic juice from the pancreas and the digestive juice from the intestinal wall complete the digestion of all components of food in the small intestine. The digested food is absorbed in the blood vessels from the small intestine. The absorbed substances are transported to different parts of the body. Water and some salts are absorbed from the undigested food in the large intestine. The undigested and unabsorbed residues are expelled out of the body as feces through the anus. The grazing animals like cows, buffaloes and deer are known as ruminants. They quickly ingest, swallow their leafy food and store it in the rumen. Later, the food returns to the mouth and the animal chews it peacefully. Amoeba ingests its food with the help of its false feet or pseudopodia. The food is digested in the food vacuole.